Lions and Pioneers. Today I'm going to be doing a copycat of the Cracker Barrel meatloaf that you find at the Cracker Barrel restaurants. And for those that are subs to my channel that live out of country, this is just a restaurant where they sell, you can go in and have home cooked meals, just home cooking. So I'm going to put together a copycat of their meatloaf that you can order there. It's really good. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, our oven is set to 350. It just went off telling me it's ready. I'm going to go ahead and add our ground beef. Now, we've purchased a cow butchered, so it's not going to look like the ground meat you buy in the store. This is fairly lean, and I would say it's 90% lean. And the Cracker Barrel recipe calls for 80%. That's hard to find here. So I'm going to use a leaner meat. But we're going to combat that with the recipe. It'll still work perfectly fine. So we're going to get our 2 pounds of ground meat in the bowl here. Okay. And for the purposes of just being sanitary, I've washed my hands, but I'm going to go ahead and wear gloves to mix everything up because it gets kind of mushy. And I want to make sure that I get it all mixed together here. Okay, so to the ground meat that we've got, we want 2 eggs, just regular eggs. And you can scramble them up a little bit if you want to. I'm going to be mixing this by hand, so you don't have to do that. We're going to be adding some dehydrated vegetables, but add fresh if you have them. But I'm going to add some onion. And we're going to add some bell pepper. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of whole milk, just whole organic milk. And we're going to add 1.5 sleeves of Ritz crackers. You could use any cracker, but this is a copycat, so I want to use what they use. And this is 1.5 sleeves of Ritz crackers. Okay, and then we're going to add our spices. I'm going to add some thyme. It's a great spice for beef. And I'm going to add some garlic powder. Now, what you don't see in here is salt, because the Ritz crackers have so much salt. I'm not going to add salt, and they don't call for salt in the recipe. And I think I know why, because there's salt in this in the crackers. And then the other thing I'm going to add is some Colby Jack, a cup of Colby Jack shredded cheese. If you want to cube it up, you can. You're just going to get more, it's going to be more cheesy. But again, I'm just trying to do a copycat version of that. And let me go ahead and get my loaf pan. I'll be right back. I'm getting my loaf pan so that I can just go ahead and dump it into that. Alright, we're going to mix this all together, and then we're going to throw it over into the loaf pan. You don't want to overwork this. You want to make sure that, you know, you're not just mixing it together. It toughens up the meat, and it actually gives it a different texture. So try not to overmix or overwork the meat. That's part of the recipe. It's just a side note on there to just not overdo it. Whoops. Get back in there. You're going to need, you know, a binder for this. So the crackers are a really great binder. If you don't have crackers, a substitute for that is 2 slices of bread, and any kind of bread really. You just need something to bind the meat together. Okay, I'm not going to work it too much, and we're going to put this into this loaf pan. It's been so long since I've had meatloaf here lately. The prices of meat are just unbelievable, so we don't, hamburger meat has gone up so much that I don't usually use it in 2-pound, you know, when I'm doing a recipe. But I'm going to be leaving town for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to make this tonight so that Bill can have leftovers while I'm gone. All right, we're going to get this in the oven, and then we're going to make the topping. We're going to bake this for 30 minutes, and then we're going to add the topping and then bake it for the other 40 minutes. Okay, so we'll be back. Okay, we're going to make the sauce that's going to go on top of the meat because it's going to be done very shortly. And so I have 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. You can use dark, light, doesn't matter. The darker it is, the more molasses, the more sugar you're going to have in there. I'm going to use, this is organic ketchup, just regular tomato ketchup, and I'm going to eyeball it. We're going to use about 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup, depending on how much you want on top. And now we're going to add a teaspoon of mustard. And we're just going to take a spatula and mix that up. Okay, our meat comes out of the oven. We're going to put this on top, and then we're going to push it back in the oven for about 40 minutes until it's finished. Okay, so I brought the meatloaf out after 30 minutes of cooking, and we're going to put the topping on it. And we're going to just spread the topping on. Okay, we're going to put it back in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes, and then we'll be back. Okay, our meatloaf is out of the oven, and I'm going to see, I've sliced, put slices in it. There we go. All right, there's the meatloaf. Now we'll get the plates fixed up here while Bill goes crazy. Okay, we're gonna make a plate here. I've got some mashed potatoes, gotta have a veg, so we'll do some peas and carrots. These are just steamed. And then we'll add, Look at this meatloaf. Okay.
One more good.
Huh? What did you say?
One more would be good.
Just one?
No.
Okay, well, my husband's already had a piece of meatloaf, so this is his second piece of meatloaf, but...
I want a third piece.
So the votes are in, it's pretty good, he says. Anyway, this is what we're having for dinner. Cracker Barrel copycat meatloaf, peas and carrots, and mashed potatoes. I wish you guys could join us. Thank you very much for joining me on this video. I'll see you guys on the next one, and don't forget, find somebody to bless.